And Steven makes fun of me because he didn't really think it was that funny, but his wife loves it. She thinks it's hilarious. And Steven, I think he does, but he's like, "Oh,
what did you
you make
guys
fun of me."
do? Did you do a skit or something?
I played every character, and I just was out in the middle. I think we lit a piano on fire too, or something like that, or I beat the crap out of an old piano and played. And I was doing like all these, and I did that with Lindsey Sterling too. I don't know if you've heard. Oh, I still have paint on my.
Yep.
Look at that. So Lindsey Sterling. I've done a couple of things with Lindsey, but I also did a parody of her once, and I thought that she was mad at me for that one.
I would imagine you dancing around like Lindsey Sterling with a tiny little. We could get one of those really super small violins, so it makes you look like you're Hulk size. and then we could end it. We could end it like, remember the movie The Office where they beat the printer up. We could end it in a beat up the violin scenes, and we could add to that by shooting it with handguns also when it's in the dirt. Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
I mean,
that would be funny.
It would be fun too. I mean, I'd always wanted to shoot.
Oh, that would be
violin.
so fun. Yeah.
I just have never had the chance to do it.
I would. Isn't that like every kind of guy's dream is to go into some nice place and just have a 12 gauge and shoot up like a store, something like that?
A lamp store, a mirror store would be.
Oh, a mirror store would be amazing.
Store.
Yeah.
And antique or miniature dolls, I suppose.
Well, there you go, like little porcelain dolls. Is that like our morbid?
That's a pretty dark
coming out, yeah.
But I think that most guys probably, and I would think it's fair to say that there are some women out there that would also probably enjoy that. Sawed off 12 gauge.
Oh yeah.
And just pump, boom, boom.
Absolutely. Well, it's just who doesn't like the poofs and the explosions?
Yeah.
All that.
Scenes from Pulp Fiction are coming to mind.
Oh yeah, or in the Zombieland when they go into
yeah.
That's one of my favorite scenes in that, other than the Bill Murray scene. I mean, that's like
and then he's not really a zombie; he's just pretending to be a zombie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
probably just get away from somebody. Oops.
Still that pain. I've been painting my bathroom.
I figured you were either fighting Bruce Lee or painting a bathroom.
Yeah, it looks almost like weird bruises, I guess. But yeah,
we punch blocks.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I guess I didn't fully wash.
You're throwing the left-hand punches or the right-hand punches. So if you're blocking with the left, he's throwing right-hand punches.
Yeah. I think he would beat the crap out of me. I know. No, not I think. I know he would have.
Yeah, absolutely. But have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the one with Brad Pitt?
Oh my gosh,
it's
one of my favorites.
Leonardo DiCaprio, one of my favorite movies. But supposedly that's based on roughly or loosely a true story.
For reals?
Yeah, absolutely. But Brad
I know Bruce Lee's family had.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's character was based on who was it? Not Lee Majors, was it? Was it Lee Majors? Who murdered and dumped what's her name between LA and Catalina?
Wasn't it? Did he actually murder her, or was it? Is this what I'm thinking about?
It's a mystery.
What's her name? Christopher Walken was on the boat too.
It was Christopher Walken.
Is this what I'm thinking about?
Woman and the other guy. So Brad Pitt was the other guy. Wagner. Robert Wagner.
Oh.
That's the character that.
That's it. Yeah.
Playing. And then,
you're kidding me.
No, and then the woman.
I didn't know that.
I can't remember her name right now. That's really crazy. But so yeah.
Natalie Wood.
Natalie Wood. So according to both of them, they were all drunk. They were all high. They were all on drugs and drunk.
That's right.
And, they just assumed that
which doesn't happen in Hollywood.
Yeah, no, never. I've never seen anybody on drugs or drunk. Actually, tends to be the opposite. I've never seen anybody sober. So yeah, supposedly she just fell overboard, and they didn't have anything to do with it. But a lot of people still believe that Robert Wagner had something to do with it. I don't know. It'll be a mystery that nobody will ever solve.
I've heard that.
Christopher Walken is now dead, I believe, passed away. And I think Robert Wagner did.
No.
Didn't he?
Christopher Walken passed away?
I thought.
I hope not, because I've always wanted to work with him.
Maybe not. Oh, maybe
let me see, because
I forgot which future I'm in right now. I'm playing Back to the Future in real life, and I don't know. Maybe he's not. He might be still alive. He may not know. He might have. It was a fairly large boat. It was a 30 or 40 footer.
And he was.
And he might have been in a completely different area and been asleep. Who knows?
Yeah. Doesn't look like he's dead.
They didn't have the cameras and stuff back then that they have now.
Right.
Even yachts today have security cameras built in.
Oh yeah.
So
mine does.
The one I'm shopping for has several cameras. Yeah.
Also, my huge RV. No, I don't have either of those. I want to, though. Have you heard of these things called earth roamers? Monty, you heard of those?
I'm familiar with the mobile tiny houses, the vans that they convert into homes, like those Mercedes vans. And I think as a photographer, I would love that.
Oh, totally. Well, and
my wife,
yeah. No, you would love it. Absolutely. You could go anywhere. These things called earth roamers, my friend just turned me on to them. And they've been around forever, since like the 90s, like 93, I think. And they are like, you could go through anything with these things. They are like military grade RVs. They're all one solid metal piece. And their tires, they can go, and they're 4-wheel drive. It's got a huge Ford, huge engine in it. And they're awesome.
Yeah, it looks like they're made specifically for Fords. Or with Ford.
Yes.
And
yep.
Doing it since 1998. Luxury camping and overland travel.
That's what I'm talking about.
That would be, as a photographer, I mean, I'm trying to become more of a landscape photographer rather than people and things. And that would be my dream vehicle.
Oh, man. You could go anywhere, Monty, and take pictures anywhere in that,
except the ocean.
They're diesel, they're 4-wheel drive. Well, they're not amphibious, but that would be amazing if they were. Would that be sweet to have an amphibious car? I would love that.
One of the pictures show it's up to the top of the wheels in water, so it's
really.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the exhaust is, one of those.
They probably have a thing on it, snorkel.
Yeah, man, that'd be so cool to have in a zombie apocalypse or something.
You could rent, because we talked about doing some different things for FatHead. One of those was be in a life raft for 24 hours in the middle of the ocean. The other thing we talked about was going up the Alaska, the Pacific Coast Highway all the way up to Alaska. And if we could rent something like that, and if I could talk my wife into coming along, that would be
perfect.
Yeah. I don't think
it's all solar. It's,
yeah, so it says it's got lithium,
sweet though,
powered by lithium batteries, and I imagine you'd have a generator somewhat or something out there sometimes, because the sun isn't, especially in Alaska,
just in case
when you're going, the sun isn't out all the time. So
that's
I don't know.
Was it during the winter? During the winter, the sun's up all the time, or is it during the? I can't remember.
I think it's the opposite. I think it's during this, because the sun would heat it, right? Just like it does here. So when the sun is up here, it's hotter. So I would imagine that winters in Alaska, I have the syndrome, the syndrome that when it's winter here and you can't do anything. What's that called? The syndrome that you just kind of feel really bad.
Depression.
It's a seasonal affective disorder is what it's called.
Now, what is that called? I get that too. Yeah. Did you say seasonal Asperger's?
Seasonal affective disorder.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah. Like you said, seasonal Asperger's. Okay. My dog used to leave those on the lawn. No, that's terrible. Terrible joke. Uh,
So
well,
tell us who we're having on as a guest today. You know this guy,
I,
I don't.
yeah, I
So
was just gonna say I am super stoked to have our next guest on Fathead today. His name is Tanner Gillman. He's a dear friend of mine. I've known Tanner for a number of years. I cast Tanner in one of his first professional gigs. It was for a TV sizzle reel that my creative partner and producing partner on a couple of other projects, Cameron Sawyer and we had cast him. We were pitching this in LA uh, with with a big producer attached and all that stuff, but it wasn't really going anywhere, and that's when we turned our focus to something else. But anyway, it's beside the point. So, but we cast Tanner in that as one of the children, the teenagers in the video because he's a young looking guy.
huh?
And from there, when I was asked to produce at Evermore Park, the theme park in Utah, Pleasant Grove, Utah, I cast Tanner as one of the characters, and of course, he was phenomenal. And I was so sad when he left, but he left because he got cast in the very popular BYU TV original series Studio C, their sketch comedy show. That has a big following. It has almost 2.5 million followers on YouTube and everything. And they're really
Now,
doing some awesome stuff.
I,
Yeah, and I used to direct for Studio C, which is
yeah,
fun.
I checked some of those out. How much of that is ad libbed, and how much of that is scripted?
It's we stick to scripts pretty. I say we because when I did direct over there. I mean, it might have changed since there's this new cast right now that Tanner's a part of the new cast, but it was pretty stick right to the script. I mean, I would give a little few things here and there, and then sometimes they would throw something in there, but it was pretty, what's the word, loyal to the script. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, that
And of course, because they're all writers.
for planning and stuff. When you have a plot, you have to stick to the script fairly closely. I'm not a script type person. I used to be in radio uh, when I did traffic and weather and news and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I had to do television break-ins for things like that, and then I got my real taste for scripting things and scripting live things, and I don't
Yeah.
really. It's not my forte. I like sticking, jumping in front of the microphone with somebody else and some other people and just having a conversation. I think there's something to that.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. I mean, we have glitches here and there. Sometimes we run into brick walls, but that's
Yeah.
what makes this live recording
That's life.
exciting. That's life. Right. Absolutely.
Right. I enjoy it.
So when is
And as a writer, oh, go ahead.
no you as a writer?
When is Tanner coming on?
Yeah,
I was going
should be about 5
to
minutes.
say, as a writer, I love it when I write something and people stick to it because I go, I wrote that. But if they have something funnier, with film, it's great because you can always do multiple takes.
Yep.
And so if they have something funnier that they want to do, I'm all for that because my background is in improvisation. So I get it. There's some writers that are like, when I write, you stick to what I say, period, because I'm the writer. And then there's some like myself who's like, no, let's play around, because I'm the kind of person when I get in front of the camera, there is a script, but I also like to go off book, so to speak. In fact, when I did that video with Cristiano Ronaldo in Spain, there was no script. There was no script, and they're like, that's why we hired you, because we knew that you would just improvise and make it up on the spot. And I did. All that stuff that you see me do with Ronaldo is literally made up on the spot. And
okay.
yeah, sometimes we had to cut because people were laughing so hard. So
I
pride myself on my comedic chops.
that video was funny. We watched that when we were in Texas, and I don't know if I could keep a straight face if I was.
That's right.
I could probably would stop, not laugh, but I'd definitely be laughing on the inside if I was there.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you hear there's another hurricane right for where we were?
What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right for Lake Charles.
No, I didn't.
Yep. It's hitting the Yucatan Peninsula.
They're not getting a break.
They're not. It's hitting the Yucatan Peninsula right now. and it's headed right for.
Geez.
At least all of the models have it headed right for Louisiana. So,
Wow. What's this one called?
this one is called. This one is called Delta.
Hurricane Sucky. Delta. Okay.
So Delta to make historic landfall. It's going to be very dangerous as it charges the Gulf Coast. Likely to hit as a Category 4 storm, which is same as Hurricane Laura.
Holy crap!
And
jeez,
it's already hit the Yucatan Peninsula, and it's going to now strengthen over extremely warm waters in the Gulf of Mexico. And currently, winds are 130 miles an hour. It's the 25th storm of this season. Can you believe that?
Oh my gosh.
20.
No.
What else could 2020? Hold on. Stop. I better not say that. What I was going to say, what else could 2020 throw at us? But I don't know if
I don't know
that question. Because
freaking 2020, man.
My biggest fear is that New Year's Eve, somebody's going to hit the replay button. That's my big fear. Somebody's going to hit replay on 2020.
Man. I hope not.
Because it's been
this is the weirdest year I have ever witnessed in my 41 years.
Same here in 46.
Yeah.
Weirdest. The year 2000 was up there with. I was in IT, so I did a lot of the programming for the year 2000.
Oh yeah, leading up to Y2K. Is that what you're talking about?
That was an interesting year because you could, as a profiteer, you could charge pretty much whatever you wanted to charge to redo code, and a lot of times it was super easy. And that was weird too. But this has definitely been crazier. This one's, I think, actually affected more people. That one, they supposedly were going to be affected, but it turned out to be a big dud. Are you smoking a pipe?
Not smoking a pipe. I just have a pipe. Sometimes I'll write with a pipe.
You kind of look like a pipe guy.
This is my pipe from Evermore.
Yeah, you look like a pipe guy.
Yes. If
I don't think I could get away with a pipe. I just don't have the pipe look. Yeah.
My grandfather.
I bet you have to like beat the women away from you when you put the pipe in your mouth like that. There you go.
Oh, the women just come running. Yeah.
TikTok girls.
They come running.
Chasing after you. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, this is actually the pipe that I had for Evermore. My character, I bought this from a smoke shop, and what I did was I carved all the stuff off, and then I burned it, and then I carved. My character was Turno Olix, so I carved his. Anyway,
interesting. Does Tanner?
Sometimes it just helps me concentrate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Does Tanner have the invitation that he knows to come in here?
He does.
Okay.
He does. Let me double check. Yes, he's got it. So let me text him and ask if he's ready.
Should be anytime. It's fine.
You ready, bruh?
Bruh.
I was going to say this about Tanner too, and one of the things that we really bonded over, that's the right word, is the fact that we both have been diagnosed with Tourette's. So my Tourette's, and and we'll talk about this, I'm sure. My Tourette's are just little facial tics, like you'll see me do this or that, or with my eyes, weird things with my hands, things touching.
I just figured you had a fly on you or something.
Yeah, I hide it really well. And I only had one person ever say, "Do you have Tourette's?" It was a girl that I was I took on a date when I was in college, and she goes, "Do you have Tourette's?" And I go, "Yeah, how'd you know?" She goes, "I have a sister with Tourette's," and so I could tell.
I wouldn't have guessed it.
Yeah, it's a very misunderstood mental disorder, I guess. Tanner has the more classical one that people think about, like in between takes or when he's on, when he's not performing, that's when his, the swearing comes out and things like that, which makes for some very comical moments. But mine is more muted. Mine used to be a lot more. I've grown out on some of my Tourette's, but
The
yeah.
pee poo poo man is entering the room as we speak.
The pee poo poo man.
That's definitely original. That's the first time Sorry, I'm putting my headphones on here, folks.
There he is, Mr. Pee Pee Poo Poo.
Oh, it's Mr.
Oh, you're cutting out real bad. Is it
the
me?
last time I had a good professional beginning. Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious. Are you there?
All right.
Are you there, Sir Tanner?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you? Is it me,
Yes,
or do you have bad?
John.
Yeah, it's a very.
Oh, there we go.
Is this better?
Yes. Yep.
Oh yeah, much better. Much better.
Would it work better with my laptop? Because I couldn't open the link because it was through my it was like texted to my iMessage. So with that, I've never done this before, so I don't know what.
No, you're
much better.
Usually, what I do is Monty always sends me the messages, and then I'll email myself the link, and then I open it up on my computer.
Okay, cool. Should I do that?
Do you want to try that?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I'll try that, Tanner.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
right.
BRB.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Funny. The internet is it's this huge thing. It's this big thing that our life revolves around. It seems, yet it's finicky when it comes to. You would think that we would have this technology mastered, but we don't.
We don't.
That's an example of it. All right.
Soon.
I'm hoping.
Right? Elon Musk, isn't he talking about putting up a bunch of satellites that'll help better internet or something like that?
Yeah,
they've talked about doing something like that.
They've been talking about doing that for a long time, but Elon is, I think, probably the one that has the best chance of actually accomplishing it.
Yeah, say what you want about him, dude. I respect the man.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a visionary. Visionois? What's the word?
He's actually he doesn't just envision it. He's actually has a track record for accomplishing those things too.
Does it? Exactly. And I think that's a whole subject there of
it's easy to talk about and have great ideas. It's a completely different thing to
which I do all
these ideas and actually bring it to life and get them done. And people always say, oh well, he's used the government dollars. Yeah, I mean he has used government money to start up Tesla and things like that, but I don't see anybody else doing it, and those dollars are out there for everybody that's willing to innovate.
Exactly.
So,
and he's doing some good stuff with it, though.
Oh,
that's the thing. He's not like going.
Have you seen the SpaceX? I watch every launch. I get notifications on YouTube for every SpaceX launch. I mean, it's the technology to me is amazing that he can get those booster rockets to land back on those drone ships out in the ocean.
Which is crazy.
Just, I mean, I kind of understand the software and all the stuff behind it, but 20 years ago, that was complete science fiction. Complete. If you would have asked 20 years ago if that was possible, I would have laughed at you. I'd be like, oh yeah, and everybody would be in flying cars too.
Right. Or the idea that you would have private space exploration.
Yes.
And
it's
coming
right up.
Not just the government doing it.
Yeah, that's coming right up.
Which is crazy.
Well, I mean, say what you will about capitalism, but
exciting stuff.
That's what makes things happen is that capitalism.
It does. It does. I mean, what's that?
Things be good if you're a billionaire.
What about Oh yeah. That's the thing, though. There's no other form that I'd rather. Capitalism is, I think, the best way to engender competition, and
I tried to buy my spot on the spaceship with my Bernie Sanders dollars, but they wouldn't take them. They told me that they were only good. They would only those dollars were only good for goats.
Gosh dang it!
I know. I like goats.
Bernie tried. I do like goats.
He tried.
He did try. Speaking of goats, a couple months ago, before I moved to Montana, my sister, it was late at night. It was like 10 o'clock at night. Did I tell you this story?
No, but I just like your transition. Speaking of goats.
Well, so my sister comes in. We used to live across from a farm. That's where my sister and I lived together in an apartment across from a farm in Pleasant Grove, Utah, right across from Evermore. Anyway, as well. She comes in the door one night, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. She's like, Christian. And I was like, what? And I look, and she's got this lump, this thing in her arms like this. And I was like, what in the? And she goes, it was out in the middle of the field. And I was like, what the heck? And I look, and it's a baby goat. Monty was a baby goat. And she was like, what do I do? And I was like, well, let's take care of it and take it back to the farm in the morning, give it back to its mom. And so I went and I grabbed it, and what's that?
Its mom was probably looking for it.
Well, it probably was. It probably was. And but so it was crazy. So I went and I took it into the shower to go wash it off because I thought what was mud on it and stuff like that ended up being its amniotic sac. It was that brand new. Oh. And no mom in sight. And so my sister had to work. So I stayed up all night with it, and I mothered that little goat. It was we went and got it some goat's milk and like little bottle and everything, and I even named it. And as soon as it imprinted on me, boom, I couldn't tell, was, or I didn't look, but would follow me everywhere and like bleat so cute, when it was like, where are you? And then, yeah.
So you were a goat mom. That's actually
I was a goat mom.
Hey, there he is.
Tanner. No more pee poo poo.
No more pee pee poo poo. I'm going to pretend to be a professional for 5 seconds.
You made it for the goat story. You made it for the goat story.
What's that?
Christian was wrapping up a story about a goat and how
made it through
he was the mommy.
I was. Tanner, how are you?
Dude, I'm so good. It's so good to see your face and
so good to see
you. You've grown a full-on quarantine beard, my dude.
Yeah, even though I haven't really been quarantining myself. But I Monty and I, it's just a regular beard, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Monty and I
embrace your manliness.
Exactly. Well, I was out with Monty down in Louisiana. We were helping post Hurricane Laura. And so I haven't shaved since then. That was like, almost a month ago that I first arrived there?
It was a month ago. Yep. My wife finally made me. She was like, the homeless look is out. I need to go.
The homeless look.
So.
Well, Tanner, what'd you do to your forehead, by the way?
Oh, this is a story. So I went to New York. This is real. I went to New York this last week for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I got full on like first 10 minutes of a romantic comedy mugged in New York.
Were you as Rick?
No, you did not.
Real talk. I swear on my life, I stepped into a movie for a week, and when I came back to Utah, the movie ended. Yeah, I got like 3 guys, like the whole 9 yards. Like, I'll tell you the full thing.
That's
what
exactly
you want to know when we get going here.
Yeah, well, let's hear it,
dude. All right. So
everyone listening already knows who you are. I did a great introduction for you, so everyone already knows.
Okay, good. Well, hello, everyone listening. I'm sorry that I also apologize in advance for my clear technological impairment problems. This is it's a learning curve. I've done 300 Zoom calls, and I'm still like, I don't know how to get the meeting link. Yeah, so I went to New York recently. I had some callbacks out there, and kind of worked out because my buddy was getting married. in New Jersey. So we did the whole like quarantine for 2 weeks, and then we were like, yeah, let's like go over to New York because we hadn't been. Long story short, I wanted to stay there for longer. My friends went home because they were Denzel, Washington, like they saw what they wanted to see, and I was like, I'm not from here. I want to see all the sights. So I went around. I was like, single man in the big city, like it's a CBS sitcom. I was climbing ladders, and I had just got done. I saw the Empire State Building with my friend Jess. Also, like, and another weird thing is that it's like, this sounds borderline horrible to say, but because it was COVID, it was like desolate. And so whenever you watch a movie in New York and everyone's like, oh, like it's never like, there's never like a couple alone in Central Park. Like you never have like the room to yourself or like whatever. We literally had like the Empire State Building and we were the only people there. So like already surreal Twilight Zone. So I was walking her home. She's on the show. She's a friend of mine. And we were at her Subway and I was like, Jess, have a good night. And she was like, yeah, you too. And then she literally said, I think this goes without saying, but nothing I'm about to tell you is fabricated or made up. That's what makes me so angry about it, is because it sounds like I wish I could write this well, is what happened. Like, truth is stranger than fiction, as they say. But she was saying goodbye, and she was like, are you going to be okay getting home? And I was like, you know what? I've been here for a week. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, I just invited the universe to kick me in the gonies as hard as possible. So she dipped out. She went on her Subway, and I started walking home. And I was staying at a hotel, like, pretty close to Times Square. I was like 10 minutes out, and I was like, hey, it's New York. It's 1 a.m. This is safe. It's a grid system. I know how to navigate.
1 a.m.
1 a.m. Yeah.
By yourself.
Yeah, exactly. By myself. I was wearing a leather jacket, so I thought I looked really physically imposing, obviously. Yep. Even though I have the frame of a 90-pound human being. So yeah, I was walking and I was turning the corner, and there was this other hotel. I'm like, 5-10 minutes from my place, and there's this construction scaffolding sort of above this like hotel, like how they have those like overlaying things with the rebar coming down, and leaning against one of the pieces of rebar is a homeless gentleman. I am assuming, I don't know the details, and he's kind of asleep. He's sort of standing up with his arm like.
He didn't tell you his whole story?
No, exactly. He didn't come up to me and wasn't like, we
I'm a homeless man. Yes. I have been on the street for
we wanted to talk politics over a bowl of applesauce, but we didn't quite get there.
What do you think of the election coming up?
It was really funny. I was like, why do you have a Cockney accent in the middle of New York? Oh, mate, I love being on the streets, right? No, so he was like asleep against this thing, and he's kind of kitty corner from me. He's ahead of me. I'm turning the corner, and there's these 3 other guys who I've now started to refer to as the Trust Fund Brigade. Just like,
okay,
I don't know what language I'm allowed to use here, but like have you seen Joker?
Yes.
It was literally, it was the 3, once again, wish I was making this up. It was basically the 3 dudes on the subway. Like it was like
frat boys.
It was frat boys. Yeah. It was a bunch of Wall Street like douche canoes, just like wandering the streets, and like and it's like, it's one thing to they were like very clearly drunk or whatever, and I was like, it's New York, whatever. Like everyone's like somewhat incapacitated this late at night if you're walking around. And I think, as I'll go on to tell you, I think they were also like legitimately, I think they were on coke, because like drunk people who want to fight are like confrontational, but they're not like angry at you for existing. And these guys were like looking for someone to punch in the face. Like I've been in like some fights. I've had the schoolyard. Yeah.
Out in public. We're gonna
exactly. Yeah. Like I've had the schoolyard like you stole my girl, I'm gonna show you who's boss, like that kind of thing. I've never had 3 people like actively trying to kill me. So I round the corner.
Punks,
literally. So I round the corner. Yeah, and like let's like the alpha of the group, like Baron von Dushington. I'll just refer to him as Baron because he was the head honcho. This guy is minding his own business, and he comes up to this dude and he just like starts razzing him for no reason. Like out of a Saturday morning cartoon, this guy starts like picking on this homeless dude and is like, yeah, man, like what do you do? Like, Yeah, I'm paraphrasing because there was a lot of explicit language used, but he was like, yeah, man, like, what are you doing now? Like, party's still, like, cartoonishly evil, to the point where I was like, okay, like, do you know this guy? Like, this is how me and my friends kind of mess around with each other. Like, what's going on? And he was like snapping in his face, and he was like, hey, man, like, you on drugs? Like, wake up, bro. Like, the party's still going. And this guy wakes up, this homeless guy, and he immediately is like, no habla inglés, I don't know, like, I'm like, oh, he's not even like a native English speaker, and these guys are antagonizing him, and the other dudes, and the guy just keeps getting more and more aggressive. The Baron,
Baron douchebag,
the alpha Wall Street bro, is like encroaching on this dude, and it's like this guy's doing nothing wrong, and he's just saying like horrific stuff, like he's like, hey, you on heroin, bro, and like calling him like slurs and like all this stuff. And I was like, okay, this is like this suddenly became hostile. And so I'm on the street corner and I start to cross because I was like, okay, do I have to get involved with this? And then immediately Baron throws his arms out and like starts like running at the guy, and the guy books it, and Baron tries to kick him, and he doesn't get him, but he kind of like nicks him, like he hit his chest, and the guy backs up, and he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I was like, okay, they're about to assault this dude for literally no reason. So I ran and like put myself in between them, that beautiful 90-pound anemic 10-year-old boy frame that I have that's very physically imposing. And I was like, and it was this, like, it was one of those things where as soon as I looked up at the guy, like the Baron dude, I was like, this was the stupidest decision humanly possible, because like the homeless guy's still backing up, he's still advancing on him, and I'm just like this monkey in the middle that's like, hey, Bull, what if we just calm down, like, it didn't try to kill each other.
So I literally was just like, had enough sense to back up and back down, but you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the other dude was like, all right, I'll like, and I was trying to de-escalate the situation too, but like they were getting closer to him, so I was like, all right, if I don't do anything, then I'm just like the worst person ever. So I like put myself in between, and I was just like, hey, like, I was backing up with him, and I was like, let's just like, I was trying to de-escalate. I was like, hey, man, like, we've had a long night, like, he didn't do anything, let's leave him alone, because they were starting to like attack this dude basically, and I was just like, dude, like, chill, let him go, he didn't do anything. And this is how I know it was cocaine, because this guy had like Jake Gyllenhaal Nightcrawler
and a white streak.
Yes, exactly. Like he had like his pupils were dilated and soulless, and he handed the Bible. Once again, I wish I was making it up because it would be more legitimate. This guy goes like, he looks me up and he goes like, looks me up and down, and the first words that comes out of his mouth are, if you touch me, I'm going to kill you. Like verbatim, like, once again, mincing a lot of, there were a lot of little extra F-bombs peppered in there. But he was just like, if you touch me, I'm going to kill you right now. And I was like, ooh, this is a scary situation. So I looked back at the homeless guy, and I was like, hey, like, are you good? And he like kind of backed off, like even me kind of reaching for him. He was like, I don't think he knew who was an ally, who was on his side. All he knows is that he was sleeping, and then these 4 white dudes are like throwing hands in front of him all of a sudden. So I was like, no, like, are you okay? And he was like, yeah. So he kind of like takes off. I sort of follow him across the street to be like, are you good? And he's like, yeah, like whatever. He's sort of, and he kind of takes off the other direction. I turn around, and the douche brigade is like right there. Like, it's all 3 of them, and they're watching him once again, a cartoon, like vultures, as he kind of goes around the other end. And I was like, well, crap, now if I go where I'm supposed to go and I turn around and they're tailing this dude, I still let this guy get clobbered, you know? And I was like, and this guy was like, I don't know if he was on anything. He was just tired. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and just go in their general direction and maybe like whatever, talk him off a cliff or something. So I start walking, and it's one of those things where, like, in scary movies, when you're like, why would you do that? That's so dumb. Like, why would they make that decision? Don't go into the house. Like, I was the guy.
Don't open that door.
People were like, they're like, you're an idiot, because I just, and then I'm like, well, better walk towards the 3 assailants. That sounds like a great idea. But I was trying to like make sure they didn't follow the other.
I took the pin out of the grenade, and now I'm going to walk towards it.
Exactly. I was like, I just threw a grenade into my own lap, and now I'm just like, all right, I'm going to live with this decision. So I walked towards him. And the one guy, the beta of the group, like whatever, number 2, he was like trying to like bro out with me, like he was trying to pretend to be my friend, basically. Like he was like, yeah, dude, like good job, like, and he tried to give me knuckles, and I was like, dude, your freaking friend just like assaulted this guy, and you're like, way to go, man. I'm like, you should have been holding him back. Like, don't call me a hero.
They were trying to recruit you. as
Yeah,
a fourth
exactly.
member.
We need a fourth member of the Proud Boys.
Yeah.
How else are we going to patrol the streets? So, and they sound like the news anchor from The Simpsons for some reason. But I was walking towards them, and they kind of start to like, they literally, they might as well have been like snapping and like running combs through their hair because they kind of started to circle me, and like they got like really antagonistic.
Sounds like a musical. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the one guy, like the other dude, once again with his coked out crazy man eyes, literally goes like,
Yeah.
"That's what we do in New York, man. Like we got to wake people up. You don't like it, you get the hell out." And I was like, "What Saturday morning cartoon did you guys crawl out of? Like what happened? What? This is insane." And so I was walking, and I was just like, "Guys, I don't want any trouble. Like let's just call it." You know. And at this point, my heart's racing. And the one dude puts his arm around me and is like, "Let's go for a walk, man." He literally said that. Like they were full, like I became their primary target.
Do you ever wonder if you accidentally got into the fourth episode of The Hangover New York version?
Dude, it looked like it the day after everything happened. I looked like Bradley Cooper. I had like band-aids like on like every piece of my face. So like I was walking, and then Baron Trump was like, "I'm so sick of this like Baron Trump." I mean the Baron. Yeah, he
Baron
came
Trump,
in. I was like, "What's going on?" I tried to talk politics with the homeless man. Then every Biden and Trump supporters both jumped me. No, just kidding. But yeah, this guy, the alpha of the group who had to make this not completely pathetic. He was taller than me. He did have some meat on his bones. He was a bigger guy. The other two dudes were about my size. But he was like, "Dude, I'm so sick of this self-righteous crap. Like, you think you're better, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, these guys are looking for a fight. Like, I'm just trying to get out of here. And I looked back at him, and I was like, "Guys, I don't want trouble. Let's just call it." And then he goes, "If you look at me one more time, I'm going to kill you."
Oh.
And he kept saying that. And he goes, "You look at me one more time. You hear me? You look at me one more time, I'm going to kill you. Blah, 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 blah." And I was just like, at that point, I was just staring forward. And he says, "Hear what I said? You look at me one more time, I'm going to kill you." And he grabbed my shoulder at that point. And they're all around me. And a switch flipped in my brain. And I turned around and I punched him in the face.
Well, you're in survival mode at that point. If you don't stand up for yourself, they're going to get you no matter what.
Oh, 100%. And it was one of those it was the fight or flight response.
Yep.
And I have never been in a situation where I like did something like that. So it was the most out of body. Like I just punched him in the face, and that was the one cool thing I did, because he like hit the ground. Like, it was a mean right cross, as the kids say. And then the next 3 minutes were an unholy. Just I got my butt cheeks served to me.
It's a blur, I bet, because your brain actually has the ability to block stuff like that out, so it blurs it out. Same thing with people going into war. Yeah, it's a blur
for sure. And it's like, yeah, but like I hit him, he hits the ground, and the other two guys behind me just go like, let's kill him, basically. And they just like jump on me, and it was just like a hurricane of fists. So I start throwing elbows at them to get them off of me, and I turn around, and they were like easier to manage because the other guy was like out for blood. And he gets back up and he grabs me, pulls my like sweater over my head, and like throws me into the corner of a trash can.
Oh, wow.
Which is where this little handy dandy scar new thing on my face came from. And it's one of those things where, once again, adrenaline.
That's where that comes from. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where the Band-Aid is. I could show it to you, but it's a little graphic. But it's like you're saying that, like, your fight or flight, and I didn't feel the pain initially. I just felt blood just go like cover.
You won't feel it. You can get knocked out. You can get a broken nose, whatever. You won't feel it at the time.
Oh, 100%. I was full on Harvey Dent. Like half of my face was just red, like covered in that. And we get up, and it was like, and
that might have saved your life, because head wounds like that look really bad when you're the assailant, when you're the assaulter, and you may want to fight somebody, but killing someone is a completely different level. And so when you've got blood running down your face, all of a sudden they're like, "Oh man, he's on death's door. We better stop."
Dude, that's actually, I've never thought of it, because it went on for a little longer, but it was kind of, because the way I described how it ended was the most like anticlimactic like thing on the planet. Like it wasn't like either of us were in a position to be like, "That will show you."
Yeah,
like,
they probably got bored like a dog does with a squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. And a very brave, noble, handsome squirrel who got his butt cheeks once again thrown into concrete multiple times. No, but it was cool because like I got up, I was drenched. The other two guys,
and they.
That's admirable that you actually put yourself into danger to help somebody out. I mean, not very many people would do that in today's world, especially in New York City at 1 a.m.
Oh, well, thank you. I would have loved to say I went full John Wick on all three of these guys, but it just looked like four drunk a-holes playing patty cake with their fists. Like none of us, we were all just like, like swinging arms. The good news is like, yeah, I got up, Barron Trump's bleeding out of his nose. He's got like, it's like just like pouring out. So I think same kind of
thing. Trump.
Hey, it sounds like you broke it. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other guy's bleeding from his mouth too. And the third guy got away scotch-free somehow.
How's he going to do more coke with a broken nose?
Exactly. I stopped your supply. Yeah, exactly. You don't even have to go to therapy.
I was going to say, yeah, they were probably ready for round 2 of coke at that point.
Like we can't even get anything through our nostrils anymore. That little Joseph Smith looking guy closed off our nose holes. But yeah, so we were standing there, and it was this weird like they were just kind of like it was this weird universal like whatever, man, because like yeah, 2 of them are bleeding. I look like I'm doing crappy zombie cosplay for Comic-Con because like my shirt's like ripped like I was Jane in like a Tarzan movie, like oh help me, and I'm like bleeding from my face. They're bleeding too, and it was just this like unspoken because I think we were all seeing stars because I got hit. I got a concussion too. I got hit in the back of the head, and I was like, yeah, I was seeing stars, and it was just this like universal sort of like we just staggered away from each other. Like it wasn't like either group was like I definitely didn't win that fight, but I think that like.
Well, sounds like they didn't win it. Sounds like they didn't win it either.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one like I wasn't Jason Bourne, but I also like didn't get shivved, which is like I think what you're saying. They just saw that I had a head wound. Well, and like, oh, I don't want to go to prison for like punching this dude in the face 37 times.
And you won it because you're not dead.
Exactly, and that's what I because I take like this is like I take self-defense stuff. Like I actually started taking that for just kind of like mental health and like Tourette's and OCD because it's a good place to get it out. But I told the cops because I ran to the cops after and I was like, I walked up to him actually and I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of talking with them as things settled down and they were like, I was like, yeah, I'm a little disappointed. Like I take Krav Maga and all this stuff and I wish I would have done better because it wasn't like I didn't do as well as I thought I would. And he was like, dude, the fact that you didn't get decapitated is like a miracle. Like you should be dead right now. So that was good. But anyway, yeah, I just like
that's what I was gonna say. That's why you won. You're
I won because I lived. I choose life. Yeah. And this is once again. So after everything,
that's went right.
Down, and they kind of like.
I think I may have a delay.
Oh yeah, so I think I do too. So if I'm interrupting you guys, I apologize. It's because I think I'm like 3 seconds behind.
No, you're good.
And Mark.
Anyway, but like yeah.
Should we try no video for a sec?
Yeah,
I'm fine. You can if you want to, but I'm hearing Tanner just fine. Christian, you're kind of delayed.
Okay.
I'll stop video too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go no video.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, so we're on this street corner. The 4 of us just look like, yeah, we're about to go to Comic-Con for The Walking Dead or something. Especially me, like I was just this tattered like pulp of a man. And they were like, yeah, whatever, man. You happy? You got your New York sucker punch, whatever. And they walked off, and I was like too delirious to even form sentences. So I was like, like okay, see you guys. Like, see you tomorrow.
I know where
yeah, exactly. And as I'm kind of staggering, and like it was a cartoon. Like I was staggering through the streets of New York, covered in blood. My shirt was ripped, and like these like double date. I'm guessing on like bicycles because these 2 guys pulled up and their girlfriends were with them, and they literally were like. Are you have blood? You got what the guy say? He was like, you're bleeding pretty bad, man. You okay? And I was like, I hadn't noticed. I hadn't the foggiest. This is what was happening. But he was like, yeah, are you good? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm looking for an ambulance. So because my phone was dead, I was like, so if you're fine, let me know. And he was like, are you from? And this was like once again kind of a weird. Like I couldn't have written this if I tried. He goes like,
are you from New York? And I go, no, I'm from out of town. He goes, you are now, brother. And he like gave me a hug. And I was like, oh, that was kind of tender. I'm half brain damage. But yeah, and then like I found these two cops, and I was like, I kind of waved them down, and they just see this dude staggering up to their vehicle during the end times, and so
it was worth it.
Yeah, they rolled down the window.
Guy.
Yeah, and they were like, oh no, and I was like, hey, can I approach the vehicle? And they're like, oh no, we'll come to you. And they saw that I was coherent, and the one guy came out, and the first thing he says, I don't mean to be polarizing, but I did think he was trying like to make me feel better. He just looks me up and down, and he was like, was it Biden or Trump supporters? Because this was the night of the the debate, and so there's apparently like a lot.
I mean, did you take a poll when they were?
I was like, yeah, I wasn't concerned with their political affiliation when they were curb stomping me. Like that wasn't the first thing.
Did they have Trump written on their fist with
exactly? I'm just curious. Are you guys more conservative or more left leaning?
Oh man.
That was my day, and then I went to
what are you guys' post thoughts on the debate tonight?
Oh yeah, exactly. Do you think the moderator did a good job of being impartial?
I guess they were Chris Wallace fans. That's why they were angry.
They were Ron Paul guys. They were still angry about the 2016 election. They're still recovering.
That's funny. Ron Paul guys.
Yeah, but then the silver lining in all of this, once again, why this is a movie, is if you don't think I didn't exploit that head wound to capitalize on a beautiful woman that I was seeing later that weekend, and you don't know me at all. I 100% leaned into that. I had a date later that weekend with a friend from school.
I'm glad you did.
I did, yeah. And she was a friend I went to UVU with, and she was in New York, and we had like a kind of this like gay brunch date plan, and she was going to take me to see the city because she's lived there for a couple of years.
There's no better aphrodisiac than I saved a homeless man from being killed by psychos.
It was the most, and I even like I had fully admitted that that's what I was doing, but I like, if you think I didn't schmooze that entire date with like, oh sorry, I'm still so sore after doing a completely selfless deed. Anyway,
you guys on all by myself.
Just like
after saving this homeless man's life.
I left out the part where they obliterated me, but yeah, the heroic like
I left my cape at home.
If they didn't have nunchucks and machetes,
I
would have done a lot better.
Those machine guns kept me grounded.
Exactly.
This wow. That reminds me, before I moved to New York City, I had an experience where I had just gotten out of one of the biggest auditions for a Broadway show, and it was on a high. And then that's when, same thing, dude had a gun still tucked in his waistband and was like, "I'm gonna kill you. Give me all your money."
Dude, are you for real?
He was like, if you call the cops over, I'm going to kill the cops. And I'll know you. Now, I hadn't lived in New York City at that point yet. What's that?
I just said New York can be a scary place.
Oh, so
out in the middle
anyway, so I hadn't lived in New York City at that point. It can be. And here's the thing, though. One of the things I learned, because you might have to learn this when you live in New York City there, Tanner, that I'm glad you did what you did. But in that case, after I lived in New York City for a while, I learned just walk away. He's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Except to the homeless man. I mean, who knows what would have happened with that deal?
Well, the homeless man, I was going to say, no, that's worthy of. Yeah, I'm glad you did that one. That was awesome. Yeah.
But dude,
despite your
concussion.
Yeah. Hey, you lived through it. You learned
concussion,
and it's a story to tell now.
Yeah, it's for sure. I'm gonna tell my kids that. Even my buddy was like, "Your kids are gonna call BS. Like they're not gonna believe that even that happened." I was like, "I wouldn't believe it, dude." But like,
first podcast.
Yeah, the difference between that is like, I mean, staring down the barrel of a gun is a very different situation than like 3 drunk dudes. So like, I don't know how I'd respond in that situation.
I have actually had the unpleasant feeling of staring down the barrel of a gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very unpleasant feeling.
And I have several times too, but in this case, his junk was fitting the barrel of the gun in this whole case.
You're breaking up real bad, Christian. And did we lose Tanner?
Let me leave and come back in.
Okay. Yeah, Christian, you're breaking up real bad, and I'm not sure what's going on.
I'm gonna leave and come back in once again.
It's the moose in Montana are blocking the. They do the bugling. Well, that's in the same frequency.
That's right.
As Wi-Fi, and it tends to block that out.
Their antlers are far too girthy.
That's it.
Blocking the satellite. So it's sorry, I didn't get to meet you.
Yeah, my name is Monty. I've been doing this with Christian. We're friends. He's told me a lot about you. So,
ooh,
I'm a filmmaker, photographer, podcaster, pretty much anything.
Right on. This is really good content for people listening to a podcast. Is two guys getting to know each other for the first time.
It's interesting. Yeah. I empathize with your New York story. My first time in New York was I didn't get beat up or get into a fight, but I was in New York Times or not in Times Square. Our hotel was in Times Square, and we checked in at about 1 a.m. and had to park the car and walk a little ways, and witnessed a lot of things, enough to realize that I was in a little bit of danger, and probably wasn't a smart place to be walking around.
Yeah, that you're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm from Iowa actually, but I've been to enough cities. I've been around the cities enough to know, where I'm safe, where I'm not, and you'll get the feeling when you're in danger, definitely.
Oh yeah, I think my animalistic senses have been improved tenfold because I was like, yeah, and it's different. Like it's like, I mean, I'll kind of end with this because I've told the story for long enough, but like. The thing that I was kind of processing afterwards is it's like I said, I've been in some, like, I'll call them schoolyard fights in my life, like nothing big and not that many, obviously. But like me and my buddies have butted heads every now and again. It, as the kids say, it hits different when the person who's like touching you is actively trying to kill you. Like that's the thing with the head honcho guy of the Joker posse is as soon as he grabbed me, I was like, oh, it feels real. This feels dangerous. Yeah, and for 2 minutes, I was like, I might die. Like that's like a legitimate thought that I had. As I was like,
I went through those things when when in my early 20s. I went through several of those fights, and those are real fights. Those were different than in the high school fights that happened in the gym with the competitor. That was a friendly. I shouldn't say friendly because we were enemies, but
yeah, the
fights in my 20s. Were real, and when you have to fight for your life, and when you actually believe that in your mind that you're fighting for your life, it is you can do scary things actually. You could end up killing somebody pretty easily.
Yeah, and that's the thing with like, because same kind of thing. Like it sounds cheesy to say, but it's one thing when it's like two gentlemen settling their differences versus like this guy would shoot me if he had the chance. Like,
imagine those guys with guns.
Yeah,
I mean,
and your whole life passes before your eyes. I mean, it's crazy.
For sure,
it does.
Yeah.
Did you get around the moose?
It literally does. When people say that, yeah, I shot it.
You shot it.
Not with my cell phone. I know it's not as.
Hey, that was a homeless moose.
No, it's not as good.
Was going to throw himself in between you and the moose.
All this talk of armed robbery really gave me an idea.
Yeah, I was picking on this moose, and all of a sudden, these three wolves started coming. They had I knew they had just done some coke.
Wolves, coke.
Freaking
wolves just did a line in the snow.
The next movie by Mel Gibson, Wolves of Coke.
I came out unscathed.
Dances.
Well, hey, let's talk about Studio C. Let's talk about all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I earlier, one of the things that when you first, here's the thing. I think I mentioned that Cameron Sawyer, I'd mentioned earlier, had cast you in that sizzle reel, and that we were pitching in LA, and it was the end of the day, and nobody had come in. We were like, well, we were trying to shoot in 2 days. And of course, you guys know casting is everything. And so we were literally getting ready to just shut down auditions when Tanner, you came in at you slid in at the very end. Do you remember this?
Yes, vividly.
And you're like, yeah, and you're like, hey, is it cool if I audition? And Cam and I looked at each other. We're like, holy crap! If Christian Slater and Phoenix or River Phoenix had a baby, we were like, so we like looked at each other. We're like, yeah, dude, go ahead, please. And then when you performed, we were like, that's it, done. But anyway, so and then of course I talked about casting you in Evermore and stuff. But tell us, what Studio C, how's that experience been, and yeah, some highlights there.
Yeah, it's been like, firstly, just like talking about that, like that experience with Juvie. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the thing. That experience with nameless. Okay, yeah. Nameless project. No, it was interesting because like I think I told you this. I think I told you this later, but like my dad, for people listening who don't know, did you tell me what the pilot was about? The whole like kind of the premise or the soft pitch?
No, you go ahead and explain it.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and explain it.
Basically, the pilot that the sizzle reel that I was auditioning for these guys with was for a series about like juvenile detention centers and all that. And I grew up basically in those areas, not because I was sent to one, but because my dad ran those for like 10 years. That was like his job. And so I kind of knew all this stuff going in. And the audition you guys set up was super improvisational. So yeah, I was super nervous. I went in there, and Isabel, who was the other lead, was a girl that I had like worked with before. She's really sweet, super talented. And yeah, I sat down and they were like, yeah, go for it. And so I improvised this scene with you, where you were the therapist and I was the kid. And I was pulling all this stuff from my childhood about like what I knew about these places and like these references that like no one who had not either gone to one of these like detention centers, these Camp Green Lakes, or who hadn't experienced this would know. And as soon as it was done, you and Cam were like, dude, that was freaking rad. How do you know all that stuff? And I was like, I'm cheating. My dad runs these businesses. So yeah, but kind of segueing into that, I put pieces of that shoot into my audition reel for Studio C. And I've told you this, Christian, before, but like to this day, the guy that eventually hired me, he was like, part of the reasons he's like, is because your reel was so good. And he's like, and that scene of you getting tackled on the lawn, he was like, what's that from? Like, that looked legit. Like, that was one of the things, like, yeah, the clip from the thing that we did, which is like a huge portion of my reel. He was like, dude, he's like, that's some good freaking, like, that's some professional grade stuff, man. Like, did that end up taking off? So like, I sort of owe Juvie my current like job security, because I was like, I messaged you and Cam and I was like, can I get that footage? And that ended up being the sort of catalyst for the old showrunner to be like, yeah, dude, this looks legit. And I was like, yeah. Cool. So yeah, I kind of owe you that. Yeah, but Studio C, dude, it's such a huge freaking blessing to be on Mormon SNL. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just, that's a horrible, the network is not going to be happy about that statement. No, but like, it's been super awesome. I feel genuinely like blessed, like sketch comedy. It's when people have asked me like throughout my life, like what I want to do and like what my idea of sort of a career is, I always say like I want to write and I want to be in the things that I write. Like I want to be an actor first and foremost, but I also really like being involved with the creative process. Yeah. And so yeah, that's basically every day.
Tom Hanks, who writes it and directs it and acts in it and all that stuff.
For sure, yeah. Like yeah, the triple threat. Directing I'm not as talented in because I suck at telling people what to do, but like as far as like being involved in a creative capacity, yeah, it's very much like that. And it's like an everyday thing too. I get to be a Tom Hanks or an Adam Sandler or a Ben Affleck just on a micro level by being like, this is a character that I wrote, this is an accent that I can do, let's find a way to make this happen.
So who's the favorite character that you play?
Oh man, there's a few of the cast makes fun of me. The head writer, Austin, she teases me a lot. She calls me the, which is a flattering, the Andy Samberg of our group. Because for years, he tried to get so many things on that they were like, you're an insane person. We cannot do this. So sadly, a lot of the characters that are actually my favorite ones that I wasn't able to do. But I would say a personal favorite is from the last season was I got this character called Humphrey the Knight in, which was like he's a knight who's like, you know, all about the medieval chivalry and all that good stuff, but he's his chivalry is like modern day like psychology, which came from my dad being a psychologist. So he's in a sword fight in the whole book. He's like, you're fighting with your physicality because you missed out on the emotions like that your father never gave you when you were younger. Like he uses.
It sounds Scottish. Is a Scottish guy?
Yeah, he's a Scottish guy. Like I wanted to differentiate him because like all the other knights, it's basically my favorite movie is A Knight's Tale. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like one of my favorites, and it's that setting. It's that.
You're
like jousting for a lady's honor, where every guy comes up and he's like, "I'll win this tournament in your honor, my lady," and another guy's like, "No, I will." And then this guy walks up and is like, "I'd like to win this tournament on your behalf, but I realize that like makes you believe that your outward beauty is the only thing that grants you value as a person, and you are valuable whether or not your outward experience." He just like he's the knight. He's the knight. Yeah, he's the title of the video I think is called The Knight of Emotional Vulnerability. Like that's his whole thing. So he was really fun because I got to do legit stunts, but I also got to like work through my childhood of being raised by a therapist. Like it was very therapeutic.
Back when the life expectancy was in the high 20s.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So that one was really fun. And then we did one recently.
Yeah.
We did one recently that's this is coming out this season. It's a gentleman named I'm a big fan of like crappy local commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always say, if you're going to a movie, yes, and if you're going to a movie and you're not there for like the heating, plumbing, and air, blah, like if you're not there for that stuff, then you're late. And so one of the things we did was a crappy local commercial. And the guy, his name is Ezekiel Brown Goat, and he's got the biggest surplus mattress store in North Dakota. And he and his whole claim to fame, because those things are always like,
what are this weekend specials?
What'd you say?
What are this weekend specials?
Exactly. Oh, dude, he'll tell you. But like,
I'm gonna hear him. Yeah,
you want to hear him? Yeah. So the weekend specials are $99 for a sleepy time mattress for your house. It's good for the family. But yeah, the whole
family.
Good for the whole family.
Bed bugs are out.
North Dakota where it's really cold and you have to snuggle together to stay warm at night. So family of 10 on one mattress. Do you at least have a special on the extra sized mattress?
You're like penguins. You got to huddle together for warmth.
King mattress.
Yeah. But the thing about those commercials is that it's always like, they're always like, yeah, last sale, liquidation, yeah, Sunday. And I was like, what if the reasoning for the reason everything's like liquidation is like the worst thing ever? So his claim to fame is that his mattress warehouse is so big, he's lost his entire family inside of it. So it's like the whole like biggest mattress store on earth. And then it goes to him and he's like, yeah, it's so large, in fact, that my wife and children have gone missing inside of it. Like, get your discounted mattresses now, or I will literally never see my family again.
Donna, where are you, Donna?
What if all of those sales were just because tomorrow is Monday?
I'll just put out some plates.
That's it. Tomorrow's Monday. You must sell them all now.
We gotta sell them all. Put out plates. We're gonna send wolves in there to find you. Oh. Man, yeah. So those are the two that I'm pretty proud of.
Some pouches for you guys.
I'm gonna throw down a Lunchable somewhere.
Launch the drones.
And then people are like, why doesn't your stuff get used? And I'm like, it's because
sniff it out.
Scented dogs. I can just imagine putting a GoPro on the dog, sending the dog to the mattress factory.
They're somewhere around the purple. Go get them. They fired a flare.
The maze.
It's a memory foam labyrinth of my own creation. I did this myself.
The $1 million mattress is in the middle somewhere.
It's like the Willy Wonka's golden ticket.
Golden mattress.
It's big and shiny, and that's where my family is preserved. We sent it to the network, and we had to be careful because they were like, "Are you trying to imply that this man like killed his family and hid them in mattresses?" And I was like, "No, like Ezekiel's a good dude. He wouldn't. He's heartbroken. Why do you think he's trying to sell it?"
Wait, that was a legit question from the network?
Oh, 100%. Like, like just like standards and practices wise, they have to check. Because there's some stuff that you'll write because we obviously want to keep it clean, so we'll write euphemisms by accident. So so they were like they got the sketch back and they emailed me and they were like, "Hey, just really quick, are we sure that this guy isn't a serial killer?" And I was like, "No, that wasn't even remotely on my radar."
I don't know.
Does the thing kill?
I remember when I directed there. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, duh, I totally forgot that you've directed, dude. I'm so sorry that I'm like monopolizing this conversation. Also, when were you?
You're supposed to monopolize this conversation. This whole thing is about you.
No, you're the guest.
Christian's
Tanner.
just doing his job.
Yeah,
I'm talking too much.
No.
So when
I think I was there. I think I directed the 2018-2017 seasons.
Okay. So when the show was still good.
Yeah, the 2017.
Are you implying that it stinks today?
Oh, come off it now. Hey, Tanner, I was watching a couple sketches, and you're the kissing court one. That got me. That made me laugh.
Yeah, if by that was we're all Corona patient number 0 because of that. Because we filmed that like over a year ago, but we released it earlier when like COVID was getting pretty bad. And so people, because like no one outside of the process knows like, oh, we film like a year in advance.
Oh yeah.
And so all the comments, because it was released like mid-April, like heat of Corona stuff, and there were so many comments that were like, what are you doing? Like, you're spreading the virus. And I was like, this was like a really, we had to put a disclaimer. It was like, we filmed this a year ago. We had no idea that the second coming was this close. Like, we didn't. So
we flew to China, filmed the first one, and then flew back with an unexpected present.
All of season 10 was filmed in China, and then we came back and hit out with each other. So I don't know what the big deal
What's the problem here?
Yeah.
It's not like anything ever comes from China.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, you guys, we're reaching that. Wow.
We're in an hour 13. Yeah, we're an hour 13 minutes.
I'm sorry. I also called in.
No reason to be sorry.
Yeah,
logical impairment. So,
dude,
we love a lot about you, and we can always do another episode too.
This is like a good.
There's no rule book saying,
would you come on again?
Enter on again.
Oh, 100%.
Hey, do you want to ask him? Hey, Christian, I don't know if you're too delayed, but
I love it.
Let's hit him with the questions that we ask everybody.
Let's do it. I am probably delayed, but Tanner. So, do you remember the great James Lipton?
The great James Lipton.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Do I remember the great James Lipton?
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right, the great James Lipton. Okay, here we go. Man, I got to work out this internet here. But anyway, okay, so, he used to ask a bunch of questions. I'm going to ask you some questions here. You don't need to explain them. Just answer them. Good. There's going to be an awkward delay, I guarantee.
Go for it.
So what were you going to say, Tanner?
Oh, nothing. I was going to say,
all right.
I thought the great James Lipton was the one question. So no, yes, go continue.
This is awkward.
Let's see here. Apple or Android?
Ooh, Apple. I'm a disgusting consumer.
We both are too.
Okay, so am I. Great. Good answer. Yeah, good answer. Nintendo or Sega?
Oh, Nintendo.
I mean, no, does Sega do anything anymore? No. Scratch that. Nintendo or PlayStation?
Or Xbox.
Oh man, I would
Xbox.
say, I would say Nintendo, but I was like Halo 3 raised me as a child, like which is why I still have mental problems. So I'd probably say I'm an Xbox guy because I also love me some Fable. So yeah, I'm an Xbox guy.
Same here.
Yeah.
Nice. Fable's fun. Okay. Here, Rice Krispies or pine cones?
Rice Krispies or pine cones?
Did you say pine cones for breakfast?
Do you mean like pine nuts or like little?
Yeah, really pine cones?
Yeah. What would you rather eat for breakfast? Rice Krispies or pine nuts?
Oh no, I'm going with Rice Krispies. I'm choosing pine cones. I like your initial. You gotta learn to survive in the wilderness, man. People are punching each other in the streets. It's
he's a human. You know he's a human and not a beaver, right?
Do you choose?
No. This is the
tuna casserole or sand.
Pine cones is the correct answer. It proves that Tanner thinks outside of the box. So
Maybe.
pine cones it is.
Here.
Yeah.
All right. Pine cones.
All right, now Tanner, here's the last question. If you have, let's say 30 minutes to yourself, do you grab your phone, a book, or a magazine, and if what do you choose, and what do you do? Which ones are they? If it's
30 minutes all to yourself.
All to myself. Oh, crap. Can I answer outside of those three? Can I be that guy?
Sure. Yeah.
Do it. Go for it.
Oh, well, I either like either it's laptop and I'm like writing stuff, or like still trying to do something creative, or it's recently it's my motorcycle.
Ooh.
That's my new hobby. And I like, if I have 30 minutes where I'm not doing anything, I take a ride, and it's like super therapeutic. So, but yeah, also I'm
curious what kind of a motorcycle you have and hear about that.
Oh, it's a Honda CMX 1983. It's my first. I think she might be. Her name is Brunhilde, named after the Valkyrie.
On-road, off-road motorcycle.
It's on road. I want to get one that does both, but yeah, it's super fun. So, and I bought it, and everyone immediately called me, and was like, "You are an idiot. Like, you're gonna die." But no, that's kind of hobby.
I had a Ninja when I was 18, 19 years old.
Dude.
I about killed myself on it many times. So
I had an 06.
What'd you have?
I had an 06 Honda Shadow.
Ooh, wow!
And I sold it for my honeymoon. A 2006 Honda Shadow, and I sold it for my honeymoon. And I tell you what, I don't miss her. I miss that bike, dude. I miss that bike.
That was your first mistake, dude. I had the reverse situation because I was engaged. I became unengaged, and I used the money that would have been for the wedding, and I went to Vegas and got a motorcycle and a haircut, and that was the. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Girls are temporary, bikes are forever. This takes the case for the most overtly masculine conversation I've had with three artsy fartsy guys, in no other context.
Grunting sound from Tim
Allen.
Tim Allen, yeah.
Yeah. We've discussed getting punched in the face. We've discussed fights. We've discussed guns and motorcycles.
Yeah.
In an hour that was supposed to be dedicated to talking about our feelings and.
This is just a typical hour of my life. What are you talking about?
Facts before feelings.
I always
Facts
talk
before
about
feelings.
As the great
we should all get. I'll get another motorcycle, and we'll all go riding together.
I would love to, but I'm going to have to ditch my wife because she won't let me get one.
Oh, man.
So,
well, then, Tanner, it's you and me, buddy.
You and me, baby. Monte's got emotional stability and eternal happiness, and we got each other in the open road, baby.
I can get one of those 3-wheeled ones. So, yeah.
There you go. Get that. Yeah.
Those are fighters. Yep. That's all. I'll get one of those and ride with.
Yeah.
That way, when you guys fall over, I can go get the ambulance.
Yeah, exactly. We need our designated. It's like a sober friend, but you're just a friend not driving a death machine.
I'll actually wear a helmet, and wheels, and be steady on the road.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, hey guys, this has been fun.
I love it. Well,
how delayed you are, Christian, but
it has.
yeah. So
Pretty delayed, but hey,
for coming on and telling us some amazing stories of your bravery and chivalry and saving the homeless guy.
And getting punched in the face 47 times.
You learned, that was a lesson that you learned. probably worth it.
Definitely.
Never forget it, unless you have amnesia.
It was worth it.
Yeah. Also, sorry that I didn't know it was an hour limit. I would have tried to monitor.
It's not. It's not an hour limit. We some of our episodes are 30 minutes. We had Tom Arnold on a while back, and we went an hour and a half of his rants. So, you know, think of it this way: the better guest you are, the longer the episode is going to be. Because I don't more yet.
That's good.
So
well, I'm honored to be in the Tom Arnold quadrant of talking about.
That's what we'll call it from now on.
That's right. I would keep
Tom Arnold section.
I would keep going, but I'm getting frustrated with how delayed I am. So we are definitely going to do another one. We're going to do another one, Tanner, with you for sure. And by then, I'm going to have this freaking internet figured out because I'm up in the middle of the sticks, you know.
I'm starting to think that you may have a string between two cups, Christian.
That's exactly how I feel.
It is. All right, so I'll wrap it up since Christian's still thinking about the last sentence. Thank you, Tanner. Thank you, Christian, for both of you being here. And this has been episode 14 of FatHead. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Fatheads.